Hey everyone, welcome to Catalyst Energies. My name is Dee. Thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful that you're here for this December 30th daily astrology report. As I am recording this, we're not even a half hour away from the exact time of the full moon. I'm going to link that at the end of this video for that report if you're interested in the full moon report and for the weekly astrology leading up to the 6th, because this whole week is very important. And these two bookends, the full moon and the third quarter square on the 6th, are both really important dates. The full moon is such a beautiful, it's so beautiful. It's really opening up a lot of space in us, and allowing us, if we are able to express ourselves through this divine resonance, through the universal rhythm, and to be a node in this web that we are collectively weaving together. If we're able to do that, this allows some of our ego to really fall away and to not be in the driver's seat necessarily. And everything that we need is within us. If we can express ourselves collectively through that, and really fulfill ourselves through this divine resonance, and the idea that everything we need, heaven itself, is within us, this is going to illuminate and bring to light such a beautiful, spontaneous, innocent part of ourselves that's just very interested, and looking to satisfy our curiosity about the mysteries of really ourselves. The moon in Cancer is at home in Cancer. She is very powerful in Cancer. So our intuition, our psychic channel, and our emotions, and our feelings, and our sensitivity to our feelings is going to be really strong with this full moon. And there's a lot of value in being able to reach out with a pure mind, an unconditioned mind, to the most basic experiences which natural life can offer to us. We can learn so much about ourselves and the world around us as well with this pure and unconditioned mind. And we'll really get to see that very clearly with this full moon, and understand that, right? And see it and feel it very clearly if we're able to express ourselves through this group process of this divine sacred geometry unfolding. That's really what Capricorn is now. And it's always been this way, but it's also been associated with structure and form and responsibility. And of course, all of those things are relevant with Capricorn, because you're talking about the structures that bind us all together in real time. But it's also the engine of nature, the machinery of nature. I think Carl Sagan had talked about that. Capricorn is the unfoldment of the fractal, of the sacred geometry, which is the lattice work of our matrix. And it's really whatever we all come together and cooperate together creating. And if we can align with the universal rhythm and the universal current of this, we can kind of allow a pure and unconditioned mind to come forward, because we have to let go of part of our own ego structure in order to be a node in this web that we're collectively weaving. So it's time for the feminine to step forward and to be able to receive, to be able to feel, to be able to hold space. And there's a lot to learn and to understand about ourselves and about life in general, by really aligning with the universal order of things, of natural law, and what we're here to collectively create together. So it's a beautiful full moon. The full moon that started with a solar eclipse, new moon, God, it seems like a lifetime ago, and it was only 2 weeks ago. So much has happened. So we're going to talk about the 30th. That's what this report is about. And the big issues, well, the big transits, I would say, that are happening on the 30th. We have Venus in Sagittarius, really close to the south node of the moon. That's going to be happening on New Year's Eve. But on the 30th, Venus is in a square to Neptune and Pisces. These are mutable energies, Sagittarius and Pisces. What does that mean? They're malleable, they're flexible, they move, they shift, they change. And so when they come together in a square like this, when they meet each other going different trajectories, but being mutable, there's a lot of shifting and changing that'll happen as a result of their impact. And so in some ways, this is good because it allows us to not be necessarily as damaged, I think, by the square. But at the same time, it doesn't really allow for as much of a fixed position to begin with. And so we have to be aware of that when these energies come together. Venus in Sagittarius, she is not wanting to act. Sagittarius is a fire sign, right? It is the collective values and higher education. It is the truth, the belief systems, but it's the friction itself. That is where the understanding comes from. The friction creates the fire catalyzes the reaction. The reaction is the alchemy. It's the understanding of all of the data that's been collected and analyzed. This is the dissertation here. Venus is very sensitive. She wants beautiful things, harmonious things. She wants to feel good. She wants to be surrounded by the people she loves. She wants to be surrounded by the things that she values. She wants to gratify her senses. And so in Sagittarius, where it is so much about the collective value system and beliefs, she will align with those belief systems if it means that she can get to a place that is safer and is not full of garbage. The Sabian symbol here where this square is to Neptune and Pisces, pelicans menaced by the behavior and refuse of men seek safer areas for bringing up their young. This is searching for a new way of life. And Venus is getting really frustrated, I feel like, or, she represents so much of us wanting this this harmony and balance in our lives, and to feel good, and to feel and being very sensitive to the changes and shifts in the material world, and wanting them to be balanced, that she will seek out this new way of life, even though as we're coming up onto the South Node, we do realize that this type of behavior is not exactly where we're headed. And it's not to say that we shouldn't seek out safer areas, that we shouldn't search for a new way of life. I'm not suggesting that at all, but this is based on collective values that already exist. And so the temptation here for Venus is to attract to her these safer areas. She doesn't want to seek. She attracts it to her. And so she's going to pull towards her what is safe and what is new, and what keeps her from having to raise her progeny in garbage, basically, which is, we all want that. And it is going to be very obvious that there's going to be a desire here to pull this towards us and to find safer places to be. The thing is, the square to Neptune here in Pisces, the ocean of consciousness, the thing is that the pelican can't go very far from the ocean, can it? That's where it gets all its sustenance. That's its habitat. And so even though we want to move on to safer areas, the reality is that we still have to stay connected to the source of our nourishment and our habitat. And for the pelican, it is the ocean. And for us, we still have to, we're still part of the same stream of consciousness, no matter where we end up taking ourselves, where we try to search for a new life, no matter where we are, no matter where we go, there we are. And Neptune in Pisces is the great dissolver. And so everything gets dissolved down into one stream of consciousness. And this is where we are getting the transmission from master to student, however you want to identify that. It's not a literal master anymore unless you want to think of it as like from directly from source, but it's an unbroken chain of transmission of spiritual knowledge and compassion and universal love that we get, but that only comes by dissolving down into and merging with the same thing that everything else is, which is the Pisces element, merging back with source, merging into the Akashic field of potential. So even when we want to, in a very material way, find a new place to go that's safer, the reality is that we can't escape, and nor do we want to, the very source from which we came, which is this Akashic field and is this field of consciousness. So it makes it difficult to be able to do that when we still are completely connected to the ocean. So we're going to feel that. But again, these are mutable energies. And so things will shift and change as a result of this square that will allow for us to maybe be a little bit more flexible and not as fixed and stubborn when these two energies meet in this very angular type of situation, right? You just lean into the square, and the good thing is that they are both mutable, and we can lean into it and actually find a solution that doesn't preclude either of these positions. Okay, I mean, like I said, of course we want a new way of life. We are fed up, absolutely fed up. But the thing is that we can't just totally separate from what is, the source from when we came, and Neptune is making that very, very clear. So other things happening today, you'll see that the moon is also in, so here's the moon now, moon in Cancer. We're starting to consolidate our personal power. We've made some decisions about where we're going to root it ourselves, where we're stable, our stabilizing force, who we are as people, individual people, how we feel, our psychic channel, our intuitive sensitivity, our ability to feel safe and secure and protected by the bonds that mean the most to us. And this is, now we're starting to consolidate that power. We're starting to bring it in and concentrate it to a certain extent and have it be very strong. And the bonds become stronger as we consolidate this power. Well, it's in a trine to Neptune. So this transmission dissolving into source, it directly connecting to the source of spiritual knowledge, to divine source, and getting the transmission of this spiritual knowing and knowledge is very much in alignment with our personal consolidation of power and intuitive knowing, which is where where the moon is. So at the same time in a quincunx to Venus. And so where we find ourselves emotionally and feeling based and intuitively is again, it's going to require an adjustment when it comes to Venus, who's like, I'm out, like I need to find a safer place to be. I need to find a better place. This is not working for me. And the moon is like, well, again, it's not about where you go, because no matter what, you're still with yourself. And so it's better to find ritualize these relationships as productive, rather than trying to separate ourselves from what's not working. And this is very much in line with, and so this is a trine, so it's very supportive and foundational. It doesn't require any participation, and it doesn't provide any challenge either. It's just very well balanced that the moon is in a trine to Neptune, these water energies, and an adjustment will need to be made when it comes to a consolidation of our personal power in connection to Venus, which is like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. I need to go somewhere else where this shit is not happening. And maybe it is the tension between these two aspects of ourselves that needs to be sanctified and ritualized in order to really open up a channel that we can get this transmission from Neptune, really dissolve into it and feel that within us. Okay. The moon is also going to be in an opposition to Mercury in Capricorn. So again, it's the same basic idea that the Mercury, our mind, our thoughts, the thought forms, the communication, the ideas, all of this stuff is very goal oriented, very focused on the group performance. And it's time now to actually go into group performance. We've gone through the first half of Capricorn, which is crystallizing our mission. And now it's time to start actually acting as a group. And so our mind is going to be really focused on that and really starting to bring those pieces together in opposition to the moon. That's like, I'm dealing with personal integration here, the process of integrating my personality. Like, I can't really focus my mind on this group performance because my emotions and my feelings are much more focused on integrating this into my personality, what I'm learning and what, especially from the full moon, what I've seen, what's been reflected to me. I'm still now, I have to, in order to consolidate this power, I have to actually very deeply integrate it. And that is causing a lot of tension with Mercury. It's like, okay, it's time to start exercising the mind. That we all are starting to talk to each other, that we're starting to be cohesive in our communication. So you don't want to get pulled in one direction or the other because they're both really important. It's finding the balance point, that fulcrum. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely a day of integration of this full moon and staying open and staying tapped into our emotions, as opposed to where Venus is, especially because she's so close to the moon's south node, which is where we've been. So there is a lot of temptation in order to satisfy our senses and our feelings of desire and material comfort in our relationships and the world around us. It's very tempting to want to act on our previous belief systems and our collective values in order to activate that, in order to create that. And it's not to say that that's good or bad, but you'll see here how it is not really fitting, number one, with where we're each at emotionally, right? We're opening this channel right now. We're not acting. We're not really meant to act on anything, although we want to act on something. We want to make ourselves comfortable. We want to feel harmonious and balanced in the world around us, and we will act on things in order to do that. But it's going to be a real challenge when it comes to Neptune, just dissolving everything, and the moon essentially just opening us up as a channel in order to receive this transmission. And the opposition with Mercury, we don't want to get pulled too much into the completely focused, goal-oriented, mental and objective perspective here, of the group and a group performance and what we're all creating together. This is important, but we also have to integrate what we just are about to go through with this full moon in terms of what we're discovering about ourselves, because we have to integrate that in order to consolidate our personal power. Because when the moon comes into Leo, we need to have our power consolidated so that we can fully express who we are, and we're going to feel strong urge to do that. And so that's coming on New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve into the first, we're going to have a moon in Leo. It's going to be very dynamic, and very expressive, and very sovereign. We're going to express that sovereign part of ourselves. It's exciting. And it's very much focused on the individual. So this right now is less about what's happening outside of us again. And right now is much more about what we're learning about ourselves and being open to receive. Okay. So that's the daily for the 30th of December, 2020. If you are interested in a reading or reaching out on social media, getting in touch through email, all of that is in the description box below. And I do the daily intuitives every morning on Facebook. That is a really nice added just an added element to all of this to get us all kind of in the zone of where we're at and how we can be conscious creators and have, activate our free will in each moment. Okay. Let's see what else. Don't forget to smash the like button. Definitely subscribe to the channel so that it gets out to more people. I'm trying to reach as many people as I can before I make a switch over to a different platform, so that I can reach a larger audience. I just feel like YouTube is dwindling every single day. Maybe that'll change in the future, when things shift with social media platforms and big tech. But for the time being, I do need to, I think, make the jump. But in the meantime, definitely subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you know when I upload, because I upload every day with astrology. So yeah, I think that's it. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Have a wonderful full moon. It's just 5 minutes away here. So yeah, take full advantage of this beautiful moment, and I'll see you on the next report.